I gotta wait? How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the shed, where Miss Dream always has a story.
It's Dream, and we got a season 2. Your Black Bostonian here, a product of a single mother who I work to make proud every single day. I'm a 3-degree holder, your veteran educator, your tech entrepreneur, and founder of the Chair platform. My platform is dedicated to supporting Black and Brown people on their hair journey by creating hair boards, connecting to hairstylists, and sharing haircare tips for a more joyous experience. My podcast is about sharing hair stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and stories surrounding identity with goals to leave you laughing, learning, and advocating. So come in and listen to the stories in the chair.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Well, thank you all for coming. I truly appreciate it. It means the most. These are the conversations that I love to have, really getting into the nuance of big topics, things that we all think about. For me, this is not a panel. This is an actual conversation that you talk about with your friends at home, with your families, really being able to get into the stickiness, the arguments, the laughter. It's a really good time. We only have an hour, and to speed it up, I want to read everybody's bio because everybody has done amazing things. And then I'm going to drop the first question now. He has 3 questions. And if y'all have questions for each other, clarifying questions, that is all good. And the goal is just to have the conversation go where it goes. Okay?
Okay.
Kyle Umemba is the co-founder of Let It Fly Classic, him, and a passionate community advocate. After 8 years of working with PwC, he transitioned to full-time entrepreneurship, focusing on creating opportunities for underserved communities through youth programs, scholarships, and mentorships. As an active leader with the Chelsea Black community, he works on financial literacy, workforce development, and health equity initiatives. Please welcome Kyle Umemba. Mitch Gaines, him, is a youth basketball referee and community activist. Mitch Gaines is a 35-year-old content creating contrarian from just north of Boston, often described as the guy you least want to argue with. He's doing his best these days to put his powers of persuasion and occasional annoyance to good use as a pseudo-parent to 2 teens, youth basketball referee, and social media commentator from time to time. Gaines previously hosted the podcast Those People, interviewing guests about their intersecting identities and politics, and Late to Work, a comic current events weekly podcast. Please welcome Mitch. Thaddeus Miles, him, community wellness and affordable housing leader. Thaddeus Miles is a community-centered leader with more than 30 years of experience advancing equity, wellness, and opportunity in the affordable house sector. His work has always been rooted in this core belief. People thrive when they feel valued, connected, and supported to live full and healthy lives. Additionally, Thaddeus creates platforms that celebrate joy and human connection. He photographs Black life in moments of thriving and writes stories and heart whispers that honor the courage to keep going. His purpose is simple: build community, celebrate joy, leave people better. Please welcome Thaddeus Miles. Al Jamal Peoples, him, is the co-founder and director of Mike and Al's Basketball League. And he's served as the co-founder and director of Mike and Al's Basketball League successfully and continues to do so, established 25 years ago. Their organization transcends the typical scope of a basketball program. It functions as a violence prevention initiative designed to provide a constructive and positive outlet for youth between the ages of 10 and 21. Their mission underscores the promotion of a culture defined by peace, empathy, and understanding, with a central objective of preventing violence through education, community engagement, and supportive resources. They empower individuals to contribute to the creation of a safer and more compassionate society. Al-Jamal dedicates himself to ensuring the safety and protection of the young people in Grove Hall, advocating for a cultural ethos that extends beyond athletics. Please welcome Al-Jamal. D.Ruff, him, is a paraprofessional and spoken word artist. D.Ruff is a two-time Boston Music Awards Spoken Artist of the Year nominee. D is a Roxbury-bred artist, performer, educator, artivist, and host. He co-hosted If You Can Feel It, You Can Speak It open mic movement for over 14 years. Most of his poems stem from personal experience and observations ranging from love and heartbreak to inequality in culture. He performs and hosts as someone of color who will also want to find a way to express themselves. You can find his work in the Isabella Stewart Gardner, the Boston Globe, GBH, CBS News, and more. Please welcome Dana Robert.
Like we wooed for everybody else. I'm gonna woo for you, but hey man, I got you.
I'm honored to be at this pretty well-established table.
The roundtable today is really thinking about the trappings of masculinity and how we are redefining patriarchy in Women's History Month. I specifically wanted this direction because in my experience, Women's History Month celebrates women, but we don't talk about the problem why we need this month in the first place. And so that is what I wanted to really dig into. And so we're all in the same space. I feel like when people talk, we talk past each other. We're not talking about the same thing. I'm highlighting Bell Hooks's definition of feminism, which is a movement to end sexism, sexist exploitation, and oppression. And when thinking about toxic masculinity, I went with the Men's Resource Center definition, and its toxic masculinity refers to harmful, restrictive, and exaggerated cultural norms forced upon men, such as extreme toughness, emotional suppression, and dominance that fosters misogyny, homophobia, and violence. My first question is, can you share your first or most memorable encounter of feminism that did not have to do with your mother, siblings, or immediate family? And why was it the most impactful to you?
Where do you want to start? I guess for me, one of the earliest memories I could have was as an adult anyway, understanding what feminism was in college. I joke all the time that all the best Murphys I know in my life are people with hyphenated Murphy something else. I had a professor in college. It was Anastasia Murphy. There was 2 or 3 other last names to it. My wife is from Minnesota. She was also from Minnesota. She had run away at the age of, I think, 13 or 14, put herself through school, graduated high school early, got several degrees, was now a professor. And I just remember thinking, I've heard a lot of excuses about why women can't do things, right? As a dude growing up, you hear all the reason girls can't, girls aren't, and all those things. And here was this woman in front of me who was all due respect to Dr. Murphy, she's gotten a doctorate since then, not a conventionally beautiful woman, not a conventionally meek or subtle or feminine woman, and not a traditionally rich or well-accomplished woman. And here she was, I'm 18 years old, I'm new in college, and she's telling me what the world is and all her qualifications as to why, and they flew in the face of everything I knew to be feminine, right? And that was the first teacher, ironically, she was my sociology professor. She taught me about feminism, right? She taught me why everyone should be a feminist, why valuing women as your equal was important, and getting to see through the eyes of somebody who, speaking frankly as men, when you're 18, wasn't somebody I was trying to fuck, wasn't somebody who was my mom, wasn't somebody I was trying to get at so I can get something from. It was just somebody who was telling me what it was, who didn't need shit from me, who was gonna have that conversation with me and frankly grade me on it. And so that was my earliest initiation into feminism in a way that wasn't performative or I was trying to get something out of it. It was like, oh, this is actually for me. It's making me a better person. It's making me a better man. It's making, not just to the women around me, but like for my own self. Like selfishly, it made me a better person. And I think that's what started like opening my eyes to that journey. Because before then, feminism, as far as I was concerned, was like a tool to make women think you were a safe person so that you could sleep with them. That wasn't like a thing you believed in. That was like a conversation starter, right? Like, because that's what it is to be a teenager. And that's sort of where that started to change for me.
Honestly, I know relative. I think from my personal experience, in my family, even though I know it's not relative, my grandmother, I don't even know her, but I know about Nana Porky as being this individual, this like life, this human being who had so much effect on the community. And early on, it was a Black woman. And with that, I think there was this underlying strength that I associated with Black women that I wasn't even aware of. So I kind of thought that they were stronger and could, like, I wasn't aware of the sensitivity around that Black woman experience. Before, I think the term feminism and the idea of feminism and the conversation around feminism is being brought up more and more today, right? Before that, I wasn't having the conversation. But as far as a human being who held the values of feminism and who was a strong woman, one of the first individuals that I was introduced to in my life early on was actually Dream. And I know this is crazy. So Dream and I went to BB&N, which is a private school in Cambridge. We was 2 of 4 Black kids in the class. This is in 2011.
That's still right, but today,
Yeah, exactly, right? So we graduated in 2011. But with that being said, and even before the conversation of feminism, right? Like I was more focused on the Black experience or the experience of being a Black man in this space in this school. But very early on, and I think I had a different approach to it. I was quiet around it. Even though I was a loud voice, it wasn't used necessarily in from that direction to push that. But very early on, and Dream would tell you, she stood on business and said what she believed, no matter how uncomfortable it got, no matter what the situation was and what was in the room, right? Dream was letting it be known what she stood on and what she believed in. Freshman year, I was uncomfortable around it. You know what I'm saying? I would rather avoid and kind of play into it. And that's something that I learned years later. But early on, I was a witness to this human being right here, right next to me, letting it be known. We were 13, 14, we going to Cambridge on the bivouac, and she's like, just call it out what it is. This ain't cool. This isn't it. I'm not for it. Whether it be feminism, Black, whatever the case may be, very much addressing it clearly and addressing it for the benefit of the well-being of women, Black, minority, whatever the case is. So I never told you this, but yeah, and I seen the question, I'm like, oh, that's easy. So yeah.
I think for me, my first incident of it, like when we were growing up in barbershops, we have conversations. Michael Jordan is the guy. There's never gonna be a girl better than him and stuff like that. Sports world, Muhammad Ali. Then his daughter came along. For me, when I was in high school, I remember like it was yesterday. There was this girl in there. Her name was Elaine. They won a couple state championships, but when I met Elaine, I used to see her in the gym shooting around. I didn't think nothing of it. I soon found out, belt the ass, she about that work. She about that work. And
shout out to Mia Davis.
Yeah. I say, hey, when she was shooting around, I think that no girl could be better than, Iverson at this time. This is early 2000. Yeah, she was. First move she ever did on me broke me down so bad. It's like the whole gym was like, oh. I said, oh, what a, and we became close friends after that, but her basketball knowledge was anything that any male would ever think at a young age. Like, she already put in the foundation of what she was going to do and stuff like that. It's like, we always built as, we can't be, we're always better than a woman and stuff like that. That sometimes, like, even the women now that's going through that in the sports world now, the WNBA, some of them are more popular than men. And you see the men on TV say, oh, we had beat them by 40. I seen you play, bro. I watch you every day more than I watch them. Nah. But Elaine made a bigger impact on me that she is that chick and she will belt the ass to anybody. And she won 3 state championships while I was there. And, you know, when you come from an urban high school, they go out and play the states. There's better training facility for the suburban kids. We all know that. She made her name known, belt ass, period. And to have that work put in what she was doing at a young age, it was remarkable that anybody's capable, anybody what field or what gender you are. And that changed the perspective of everything for me. Because in my household and stuff, I run a foster care, so it was she took on a lot of teenage girls. So before it was a reality show, it was more of them girls in the same place. You got 7 girls, teenage hormones, that was gonna fight every day. So that right there, that's what I knew. So I didn't think about them being empowered, like the ghetto part. But when she did the stuff that she did, it changed everything for me.
Took a minute thinking about this question. More so because we all have had that moment where we're hard-headed. Like we all had to be in a certain position in order to understand that, okay, the way we're thinking isn't necessarily the right way to think. And for me, the earliest time that I'm thinking about things is like elementary school for me, more so because in this early time, I was already trying to do stuff. So I went to, everybody remembers the book fair, or some of us remember book fairs, Scholastic Book Fair. Had a book fair, and instead of buying a book, I went and bought a diary. It was plainest, it was a diary with a little locket, had a kitten on the front. Only boy to buy one of these things. Only reason why I wanted one is because I was like, why do girls get to write things in books?
I want to write my feelings.
Yeah, I want to lock it up too. So that was one, and for me, like all the boys obviously made fun of me because I have this teal kitten locket diary, and all the girls is like, oh, that's cool. Where'd you get that from? And this is the first time now I'm identifying, but I'm not identifying for the same reasons, like, oh, I want to try to bag this girl, but like, oh, okay. Second one was in middle school when I'm in health class, because while all the other boys is talking about cars and wrestling and what happened on Power Rangers last time, I'm looking in health at the back of the book at the women anatomy. Like, if I like something, let me research what I like versus what I don't necessarily care for. And I didn't think about this until you said something, Mitch, where it was like, oh yeah, we did learn how feminism is be safe so you can get in, and they can always talk nice about you. Not necessarily actually be good, so that way they will always talk nice about you regardless if you're trying to date them or not.
It was be one of the good ones.
Yeah, that was it. It was always be one of the good ones. And so it didn't hit until my adulthood, because like most of my teenage years was that, being the good one. Be doing your best to be the good one, having the good story said about you and all those other things. Didn't happen until I became co-host of the open mic, which was predominantly lesbian open mic, where like now I'm in a space where nobody likes me. Not in the way that I'm thinking. And so now I have to change my perspective, because now, one, I can't come into this space because one of my major fears was I always felt like I was gonna be a trigger in this space. Being a straight black man in this space, I always felt like I'm already the enemy until they decided to make me co-host. Now I'm not, but now I have to make sure I am good around these. And this is taking a lot of like really taking some time with myself to really think about these things. So that way, one, I'm not objectifying the women that are coming into the space. Two, I'm making sure everyone feels safe, welcomed, and seen. And then third of all, making sure everybody can have a good time and be as free as they want to. So I would say those were pretty much the 3 moments in my life where I'm like, oh, okay, I was already open to feminism, from day one. It was more so understanding what way in which I was learning the feminism. Because hearing it from men, it's blind leading the blind most times. We don't know what the hell we doing until we step out of ourselves and being like, all right, let's get into a group of people that we know we could learn from without feeling like we have to benefit or use this knowledge for something else to manipulate another situation somewhere else. So that's where I'll say.
I don't want to cut you off before you get to your answer, but I just want to point out in that vein, all four of our answers so far, I'm going to guess before you answer yours too, all come back to we met a woman or girl in some instances in our lives that vastly changed our view of who women were. It wasn't necessarily we encountered some theory or some philosophy or what feminism was. It was we encountered a real life example of like, women are our equal, if not better, right? Like when you go on the 8-foot rim and you get dunked on by a girl, like that shatters whatever image you had built up from the patriarchy that you're him. You ain't him anymore. Like she's him. You know what I mean? That's that from then on until you do something about it. And I'm guessing you didn't do anything about it. I didn't do anything about it. None of us did, right? Yeah. And so like that was always the turning point, I think, where like you start to engage with what feminism is, which is like that turning point past the performance of I'm one of the good ones. You should like me more. I'm safe. You can spend the night, of course you can. I'm that guy, right? But then when you move on to like, oh, she spent the night and like I don't want to fuck. I like her. I care about her. I want to make sure she's safe. I want to make sure she gets her stage time. I want to make sure she gets her shine or her scholarship. And all of a sudden you have to question yourself as a man, like, do I really know how to do that? Or was I just trying to figure out how to get to 2 a.m.? You know what I mean? And so like that is really the collective seems like game changer.
To all my fellas, hot boys, city boys, selfish savages, masters, gentlemen, and my OGs. There's no more debate. Yes, we are trash. We just refuse to address how fatigue wears on our bodies, how it feels like lips salivating in the midst of success or a crisis, and like hands grasping our throats, we force out compliments to these white folk with sprinkles of taking advantage of our kindness, kindly disarming their sirens, their kindness now viewed as loans, needing repayment, and we have to dance for these dollars, criticize each other for these scraps, kill each other for these stats, because real men don't take any shit, even if the shit we have to take is facts. We know about those other wolves, only lurking for the scent of the young while refusing to see their young or even acknowledging they have some. How packs hang inside the clubs, outside the bars, camouflaged in museum exhibits, cosplaying meetings in the coffee shops can be our favorite cousin at the family cookouts or our day ones in the shadows of the open mics, and we call this shit code. Locker room talk. Convos in man caves and boys clubs where we undress reasoning incorrectly like bad foreplay in the dark and then deny it when it comes to the light. We don't want to be suspect or caught vulnerable, keeping secrets hidden like Epstein files, rarely being accountable but taking account of how we were wronged, ignorantly claiming how sensitive niggas are now, how times have changed, then declaring money over everything. It's funny how we can play victim with trauma to be more appealing, or bashing victims with real traumas who are honest about their feelings, and then asking those same victims to play our saviors when thinking credibility is enough to avoid the trauma. Around these pathetic, troubled, simple dudes, grown men acting like fragile, horny boys needing playthings, needing and fiending for you know what? Let's explore some more man problems and not blame anything or anyone.
Where we share stories in the chat.
I just want to know where you done. Please leave the room.
That's why in your bios, you're the least person anybody wants to argue with, right? Because I understand you got great perspective. But you were right. So what I'll say is home, college, and the military taught me a lot about a lot of different things, especially in the military. But I think I can go back to one day that 2 incidents happened that happened here in Boston. I'm going to try to stick in Boston instead of other parts of the world. It was December 29th, 1993, right? So at that time I came in, I was working for a security company, and I had to hire 120 armed officers to patrol 10 different properties in Boston, right? Grand Manor, Roxy Homes, up on Humboldt, all those other places. It's called the Demo Dispo Program. And so we had a meeting in what's called the South End now, but it was Roxbury. Right? Yes. And we had a meeting, and I went out, I patrolled some properties, taking a look at what was happening. And in one of the meetings, there was a bunch of women sitting around, and it was me and a couple other guys. I just got out of the military, right? I'm 6 whatever. I'm about 245, probably like 5% body fat, thinking I'm all of this, right? That I'm going to be their hero. And when I got in there, I asked them how did they let it get that bad, because there was a lot of stuff happening on their property. And the woman told me, you need to sit your black ass down and understand how you got here and really what's happening and what we expect of you. You need to be quiet and listen and understand what our hopes and dreams are, because you didn't come here to change and put things your way. We fought to get you here, right, as far as the company and what we were doing, because we have different priorities for our kids. We have different changes for what we think we want for legacy, for the folks that live here, and we want change. And you need to sit your ass down, listen. Just because you got a little bit of muscles don't mean a damn thing to me or anybody else. And she became like my mom, right? Because she was my advisor. That same night, I was going to check some properties just to get familiar, because I'm not from Boston. I was up on Seaver Street. And I was up Seaver, and I came in a place on Brookledge, right? I came through Brookledge. Came in the back hallway, and the lady came out with a baseball bat, right? And she's like, I'm tired of y'all, but I'm not in cuss right now. You know what I mean? She's like, I'm tired of y'all motherfuckers coming in. I'm just coming in here, because I got to say what she said, right? And she came at me, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm not that dude. we're here for security, blah, blah, blah. But she's like, you need to respect us. You should have let us know that you were coming in to the property, right? You shouldn't be coming in here at night creeping, where we don't know who you are. You had done no introduction. But what I learned was I had done introduction to the management company, but I had never talked to any of the residents that lived here, the ones that were there at night. I had talked to the people that were there from 9 to 5 that, just wanted to do their job, stay locked up in their office and left. But I hadn't really took the time to engage with the people that were there. And she became another one that's like my mother, right? And so those 2 incidents got me to really think about what am I doing? What is the perception that I have of a community, right? And the women in the community, because, it was a lot of single moms, right? And it got me to really think about how are they creating opportunities for the men to be men, right? And I started to look at that for a little bit. But then what I learned is that they were the ones that actually push for the community to change. They were the ones that push for home ownership, right? They were the ones that were actually giving other residents voice. Because all of those, it was 10 organizations, all of them had resident leadership, all of them were led by women. And all of them were led by women that didn't take nobody's shit. And that was from me, that was from the HUD, that was from mass housing, that was from the police, and that was from anybody else. They had a vision, they knew what their vision was. And to this day, that was, so we're talking 30 years, they own those properties. Those properties are still maintained as affordable housing. When you look at the rest of those communities, how gentrification is actually changing those communities, right? And so the power of a woman and what it meant, and teaching me what it meant to be a more respectful man that actually understood what womanhood was, through some violence, right? I wouldn't say violence because they was army, right? You know what I mean? But it wasn't that kind of violence, right? They were just holding me accountable, right? And being able to see that in a different way that I saw with my mom, I saw it with my sister, or I saw it with my grandmother, right? It was a whole different thing, and I perceived it as a thing from them that, okay, that's just who they are, right? It didn't really matter. They were just mad at me or whatever. But in the end of the day, the change came from women, black women. Let me be clear. These are strong black women that put me in check, but took the time to guide me in the direction of what it meant to be a man, and more so what it meant to be a father, right? And so I think that day I will never forget. One of them still living. I just saw her a couple of weeks ago. Another one's passed. But I pray and speak to her every day because her family, they cremated her and they gave me one of the pieces of jewelry. And so I have that sitting with me every day, and to remind myself what manhood looks like and what womanhood looks like, and how we can do the best to support each other.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, it's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The Chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hair boards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new, joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hair boards made by people like you, for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress-free. Join the Chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the Chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair. The chair. The chair.
All right.
Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a black woman and educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere, Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show.
The chair.
I'm really curious about something because all of you talked about this idea of feminism being weaponized. And so all of you work with youth and community. How are you teaching the youth not to weaponize? How are you teaching them? What is the actual tools you're giving them that's in opposition to what you learned growing up?
Well, that's a great question. The weaponization of it comes from the actions of the male is more what I'm aware of. With the kids that I deal with, I run a nonprofit basketball tournament, and I help coach on the side for Chelsea High. And with the kids that I deal with, the conversation that I have with the kids is more on how they process their emotions, right? I don't work as much with, I'll get to that point, the processing of emotions by the young men. Growing up, right, it was more of a bravado, rougher, tougher, don't crack, don't show emotion. right? With the kids that I speak to, I tell them, relax, we love you, I'm here for you, right? Very candid, very emotional, very open, very honest. Even if it's uncomfortable, which it was uncomfortable, it felt like during my age and during my time, but now I'm very candid on them letting that out. And there are some kids that don't.
Do you explain that anger is an emotion?
Do I explain that anger is an emotion?
Because I feel like in the experiences working with boys,
Yeah.
anger is there,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, stop being angry, or anger is the only way they know how to express it, and no one's telling them that is actually an emotion.
So I don't tell them to stop being angry. I don't actually address the anger. I actually, when it comes to those situations, I'm more candid on saying, I'll try to explain it or explain what they're going through. There's one kid I'm thinking of in particular. He's a hothead. He balls out, he'll fight back with the coach, he'll go crazy, right? And he starts, you could see his insecurities through his actions. So he'll say something like, they all hate me. They all don't rock with me. Like I can't be around these kids, and we're in the middle of the game, right? We've been with the kid for about 4 years. And initially it was like, bro, but then I realized, I told him, listen, that insecurity that you're feeling, that lack of love, that whatever that case may be, we all experience that, right? That's normal. How you're letting it out though, and how your actions in response to that is what you have to realize it's pent up anger. It's a wall, and you have to be aware of that, and you need to know that the way that I'm addressing this with you, and the reason why I'm speaking like so candidly with you is because I love you. That's usually my messaging. On the other side of that, as far as confronting feminism, the way that my tournament works is we are a one-day basketball tournament in multiple countries. So we're in Chelsea, in Puerto Rico, we're in London, Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Rwanda. The way we do it is it was focused on boys basketball, right? And we are really heavy on entertaining, right? Like we want games that are entertaining, like work apart, we're on the mic and getting loud. Now what we would hear a lot of time initially was, oh, we don't want the girls' game. The girls' game is slower, they're not dunking. They're not doing this, they're not doing that, right? But then when the girls' game would occur, we would see the crowd going crazy. They was more into it. It started with their parents, but that energy quickly spread. So as we come to develop as an organization, we saw the prioritization of that game, right? And the exposure of that game. And when we were doing our messaging, making sure that the messaging spoke as much to the young lady hoopers, right? And the killers, because we had some hoopers, right? Just as much as it spoke to the men's side. And really giving them a platform to shine and not just telling the bully story, but also telling the girls too as well.
If I could jump off at that point, to your question about like weaponizing the feminism, I guess my candid answer is, and certainly no women are gonna like this, and I'm sure plenty of men will like this, but like, I don't tell them not to, I just teach them how to for a more positive reason. Like to your point, if you have a gym full of 13, 14, 15-year-old boys, they wanna go crazy. They wanna cheer for something. They wanna put their hands up when someone hits a three. So go find me a 7th grade girl who's gonna knock down 7 threes and give her the ball the whole first quarter. Let's weaponize that, right? Let's take advantage of that same like energy. But on the flip side, like, when I work with young boys, 13, 14, 15 years old, like, am I gonna sit them down and try to read through bell hooks with them or teach them philosophically about feminism? Or am I gonna say like, yo, listen, 14-year-old young man, do you wanna differentiate yourself from your peers? Here's 3 tenets of feminism that are gonna make you look like a decent guy. Now, it's somebody else's job before you're at 18, 21, when we all hit those ages. But at 13, that's how you're gonna be able to at least open that door. I'm gonna get you to treat girls and women around you much better. I have 2 teenage girls in my home right now. I teach teenage girls all the time in my life. I coach girls basketball for a long time. I tell young women in my life, the best advice I can give young women under 18, be a lesbian until you're 18. Young boys are horrible. So like, that's where we are with boys. You know what I mean? So like, if the jumping off point for getting a boy that age to become a feminist is like, man, this is gonna make you better than other boys, I'm cool with that. I'm happy to weaponize it in that way because of you're a step ahead. If you're thinking about how to make yourself better than other boys when you're 13, 14, 15, you're going to be thinking about how to make yourself a better man when you're 18, 21, 24. And all of us just sat around this table talking about none of us even had that light bulb go off of being a better man, not a better than the other boys, not better than the other guys, being a better man for the sake of yourself until we're, 24, 26, 30?
But no, for me, I feel like that's a lack of accountability. And you're not teaching accountability. And I think at that age, as a teacher, and a lot of us who've worked with youth, like we understand that a lot of the lessons have to be taught over and over again. And I feel like accountability can be one of those lessons. Do I think that can both things be true? Yes. But I think accountability is not being taught, so it gives the space for excuse for young boys until they have a woman who slaps them up with feminism because they're not reading bell hooks.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a couple of different things. I think one, I do talk about anger being an emotion, right? I talk about the savage anger and warrior anger, right? That difference in not being able to have a second to breathe, to really process and to think about it. The savage is just going off, right? Warrior, you have some strategy, you have some time to think about it. You understand really what's surrounding you, what you're facing, what you're dealing with, and what are the consequences of those things, right? So for me, we talk about that. I talked about that with my son when he was 8, right? About what that means, because he was wilding out a little bit, but not in a bad way, but in a sense of just being angry with friends, right? And part of that was because me and his mom was starting to go through a divorce. So I understood what it was, and I had to have those conversations about that, about who his mom is. She's still a mom, she's still a woman, some other pieces. But what I found is, for me, the more authentic conversations I have with young people about my own stuff, about my own mistakes, about my own challenges, have been a blessing, right, for me and for them. Because what I find is so the example I would give is I was talking to a group of 7th graders a year ago, and we were talking about something, and they asked me about my mom, and I just let the tears flow. I didn't fight to hold it back. You know what I mean? I was crying like I just got smacked coming out the womb. And I had to tell them what that meant for me, and that, no, I'm not embarrassed about it. And to be able to have that conversation with them, honestly, about the pain that I was dealing with and about what grief was to me, right? And how to move through that grief, and who this woman was to me, and who my sisters are, and how they had to deal with it. And being a caregiver of a lady that was extremely dynamic, that moved a lot of things, that fought for her 3 kids to all get degrees, advanced degrees, and to do all of these other things, to have dementia. And to not recognize me when I walk in the room, and what that meant. And so when I started to have those conversations with young people, with older ones, or with the ones that have just gotten out of college. I talk to my interns, they're all college graduates the same way, about what it looks like. And I just find the more real I am about my own stuff, the more you talked about some of the pieces of homophobia and all these other pieces, the more we talk about some of those things, right? The more I talk to brothers. I went to a transgender rally in Franklin Park, and brothers was tripping. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, so she looked good. I'm not sure it's a man or a woman, right? And I'm like, what are you even talking about? You know what I mean? But they were challenging their own manhood, right? Because they saw a transgender person that they thought was beautiful, they were challenging themselves. I'm out there photographing, and I'm doing my thing, and I'm like, so was then this one guy that just kept standing beside me, right? I'm like, you all right, man? He's like, then you should leave, right? I'm like, I don't this is my first time in this space, but I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with who I am as a man. I'm comfortable about all those other things, right? But I think if you don't start having those conversations early, if you don't start having some of those conversations with the young people, whether they be a man or a woman, or a they, however it's defined, because honestly, I get mixed up with some of the pronouns and some of the gender identity things.
You're working on it.
You know what I mean? But I think we need to have those discussions earlier, right? Because I had a 10th grade kid apply for a high school internship, and he had already transitioned. And so I'm like, how do I deal with that within my staff to make sure that this young person that had transitioned feels comfortable around the rest of my team? So I had to actually bring a training in from a professional to train my team what not to say, what to do, and how to address some of their own issues. And we ended up training that whole summer. But, and having real conversations for that whole summer. So I think there's a lot of work that we need to do at a much earlier age. But we have a tendency to lie about ourselves, right? And lie about, like, when we're hurt and what brings us pain. Because we can say we got hurt when we were young, or, we stood up and I was all of this. You were soft as hell, right? But, we don't want to tell that side. We don't want to tell those mistakes of, we were just trying to bone and trying to do all these other things. We didn't see her as anything but an object, right? We don't have those discussions early enough. And I think that's one of the things that we should do. But I think every man or every father that has a daughter should have some of those real conversations too, right? Because I agree with you, but I don't agree with you, right? I can't say you should be a lesbian because there's a lot of implications, right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And so, but I think it's, when I think about it, it's like you're saying something to them that you don't even know what that means, right? And I ain't trying to dog you, but I'm just saying it's like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the issues are around that, but I hear a lot. Because your mom, we had an issue, and she helped start the first Gay Straight Alliance at Roxbury, right? And I went in, and it was all of these questions, and the young people didn't feel safe, and there was hundreds of them, right? And she led it. And the first question they asked me was, how would you feel if your son told you he was gay? And I had never thought about it, but I had to answer it honestly. Would I accept it or would I tolerate it? That was the question. I'm like, I would tolerate it, but I wouldn't love him any different because I have my own expectations and my own wishes for him until I would learn to accept it. Because I can't just it's not going to change my love, but a bunch of other people just say, I would accept it, but you're lying, right? In many different ways, because I expected children, right? With my stupid knowledge, I didn't realize that no matter what that is, that doesn't mean that you can't still have kids. Because there's two of my friends now that just had their first baby, right? They have a surrogate mother. Doesn't mean that you can't. So many things that we look at that we still as men don't really start to process.
This is gonna feel more like a reprimand than advice. Like I'm shouting commands and not just a different perspective on life. Standing in this mirror because maybe this says more about me than it does about them. If you want to see how a straight man feels in a woman's shoes, watch his response when a gay man hits on him. Cause my nigga, if an Asian gay man calls us cute by the bar, don't scowl. Laugh. Say thank you and take the compliment. Don't cringe. We want it to look good, so it should be appreciated by everyone. If a black gay man calls us cute by the bar and buys us a drink, don't become hostile. Become tense like a stop and frisk. Don't be pissed. Accept the drink or decline, and it's not an invitation, but this pattern does start to feel familiar. If a white gay man calls us cute by the bar and buys us a drink, and we're left speechless, left grasping for the next word to bash our intention as we've already told someone else at some other place at a different time. Remember, be appropriate. What did we wear to catch their gaze? What cologne did we throw on that rallies this flamboyant attention? It can't be the gay man's fault for falling for someone who's just advertising their sexuality by just being present, just wanting to vibe. When a gay man calls us cute and buys us time to outwit him, make it a sport out of our discomfort, remember to feel comfortable, because we've played sports. Don't lash out or strike. Niggas have played verbal gymnastics before, flipping around meanings, and we've had plenty of practice. Tripping up our love interest for the evening, wearing down the opposition, waiting for the opportunity to score. This may not be our interest, but this is certainly our opportunity to score. We're just on defense now. Play defense. Defense wins games, but in this game, we don't know much about protecting a hole, just being offensive, extremely physical, spewing hateful words like pepper spray, hoping the tone alone will force someone's eyes to redden or choke on the air around them. But they always see niggas as aggressive anyway, seeming almost masochist to the harsh replies, because they've had to survive this abuse. So why justify it? Why feed into it? I mean, we already knew what to expect when we went out tonight, right?
Where we share stories in the chat.
I'm going to say the same thing as Mitch, that most times I usually don't say anything. I'm dealing with fourth graders. The fourth graders, boys, they don't want to hear nothing. They are hard-headed, and we are just speaking to our younger selves most times, and we know our younger selves. We don't want to hear nothing about your story, old man. You ain't telling me nothing about what's going on right now at night. And so I usually wait. I also agree with introducing the feelings first, because the one thing that at a young age we attribute to weakness is womanhood. So if we take away just because so-and-so's a girl doesn't mean that they can't do, just because you decide that you don't want to be doesn't mean you can't, just because you decide you want to cry doesn't make you weaker, just because you decide we try to make sure that the feeling in itself is identified and celebrated and recognized, and they have the tools to deal with those emotions rather than just let them figure it out there. Like, give them the tools to be able to deal with the emotions first, and also therefore not say the emotions or having emotions is a feminine quality. Because then that right there, at least to me, is the first way to attack that and bring that to light, because I feel like there's so many other things from our perspective that show that we don't want to be weak. We don't want to be seen as weak. We don't want to be seen as vulnerable. And so a lot of times when we keep comparing vulnerability to womanhood rather than still seeing the equals in both, that's when you start seeing the performative aspect of things and wanting to be the good man instead of actually being a good man, because you don't understand the feelings that come with that. So that's what I say.
I just got one question for you though before you go. So I get a lot of young people that come to me and say, I'm glad you said that back then. I didn't understand it, but something happened and what you said to me clicked before I acted.
Mm-hmm.
And so at what age do you start telling them, even if they don't understand it? Because, I can tell you right now, it's a guy that's doing life in prison that say, hey, I wish I had listened to you. Right? But there's also a lot of young people that I've talked to, and I'm gonna use friends of my son, right? I was having the same conversations with him around, and years later, I would get a phone call that said, I didn't understand it then. I had to experience it, but now that I've had that experience, I can take it and I can actually make more of it than this being my first experience, and I could see it coming. And I understood what you were saying. And so I'm trying to figure out as we're talking about, I know fourth graders damn sure don't want to hear nothing I got to
Nothing.
unless I'm throwing some hoop or something else, right?
Exactly.
But, at what point do we start having those? At what age do you think? Because y'all are all teachers, and I stopped, doing some of those things.
I would usually say around like late middle school, middle of freshman year is when, because when I did work in the high school, like I started a boys group unintentionally. It was so by accident. The girls didn't show up one time, all the boys showed up, and they was like, Coach, these girls here. I was like, all right.
Real life.
What's happening? And I think that was the first time, because now it's like, oh, my knowledge and my experience comes in handy when it comes to
Right.
y'all are already having issues, don't understand why the issues are happening, don't understand that what you did 2 weeks ago was the reason you're having the issue now. Let's make sure, let's do this men math right here. This is what I call it, men math. We're gonna do this now. Let's find out the mistake that happened way before and why you're dealing with the consequence now. So that's how it usually started, and that's when I was like, okay, this is probably the time, because now they're not trying to be performative anymore. They're finding out the performative aspect,
Right.
it dies after a while, because you get bored in this. Right. You want to do something else. So what is that something else? And I'd say around that time would probably be it. Before I start, I just want to say this. That bring out your feminist side more when you see the Power Rangers get their ass whooped by the
Never lied.
That came out more than that, huh? 3 episodes of ass whooping. But for me, recently, we got a kid that aged out. He's in RCC right now, but I had him for 3 years, very emotional and stuff like that. And I looked at the kid for a long time. I'm like, wait, you remind me of something. And your mama could vouch for this. Oh, like, you remind me of something. Smile the same. I don't know. Angry. That's a ticking time, but he's me. Ooh. Okay. Look, so what's the issue with you? We don't want to talk emotion. We learn to master our emotions, and sometimes in a fatherless home, we do this by accident as parents, and mostly when women's just raising teenage boys. Sometimes they get old enough, they want to talk back. They grow taller than their mothers, to slap across the face. For us men, that's like spitting on us. And it's like for us that come from the streets or in prison, the B word, that's us means to fight. So you're kind of low-key creating this monster that can't show emotions because you mask that because of that. And that anger comes from that. So when I'm teaching these guys, it's like, yeah, basketball is cool and all, but I'm teaching you to be a better man. Mm-hmm. Like that anger gotta get released somehow. That's what you have to do on the court. That's what you have to do. But how do you manage that? You have to manage that in life. This is just a stepping stone. Like, cause you're not promised a great basketball career by anything you do, but you could be a better person. And when you go through this journey of being a better person and seeing things, it had the anger issue of the kid and stuff. What happened was he got angry over somebody stole the sweater. Now, we have the league, somebody stole the sweater. We know you worked hard, you did your summer job. He flips out over the sweater. Usually we could talk to him, but he wasn't trying to hear it that day. He just going off. So I did the Denzel Washington, that scene, American Date, of Cosby, talk to Louis. Don't talk to me at all, talk to Louis. He's going off, I'm trying to calm him, get in my car and drive off. Talk to me tomorrow. Cut as a practice, what are we going to do with the kid? What are we going to do with him? I said, well, nothing. Let him come back. Every time he got ready to go flip off and stuff, and you see him ready to do, I stood next to him. Go ahead and do it. I didn't say a word the whole practice, not a word. Call the coaches, call the rest of the staff. I was like, Al's not messing with me like that. Al's not talking to me. That ain't the case. I want you to feel when your support system is gone. If you keep being on the path that you're on,
your support system's going to disappear. And nobody will have your back like that. It's nobody's going to pick. You're a kid now, but wait till you become an adult. They're going to fire you. Soon you flip out. Say you just got locked up and say you had an accident or something like that. You say, yes, so I'm not going to hire you because you go, you say it to me, you get mad. That's what I've read. It don't matter if you're going to do it or not. You got to understand that. And that's what's happening with our teenagers or young girls or whatever like that is that's what's happening. But now, this didn't happen. He found out we're blood. With cousins and stuff. From a death from my family, we blood, first cousins and stuff like that. I was like, hey, I just say, well, I want to you now. This come from a bunch of shits. This is all love now. So now he understands he's in college, he's moving on. He's like, yo, I come back and help, let me do this. And sure. So that brotherhood and that sisterhood that stuff builds is from the community because it built me. I was a loose cannon. So, and give a props to your mom. Like, I don't get you to build a smile from ear to ear. Just telling me it's okay to cry. Because there's a lot of stuff that happened in the neighborhood. It's okay to cry. I needed that cry. Somebody to tell me that because I was stonewashed. Like how hard it was for you to find one of my profile pictures. There's barely any smiles.
No, he brings up a great point. I think everyone brings up a great point, and it's more of an addressing of the toxic masculinity rather than the feminism. Whether that be because we work primarily with boys, I don't know if everyone's experience, right? But it's more like
I think everybody else
assumes like, and it is. I think the reason why you need feminism is because of the vice versa, the toxic masculinity. But an addressing of that, whether that be through your personal experience, whether that be through distancing and figuring out, listen, this is a relationship that you will lose. Right, whether it be through whatever the case may be, it seems that the addressing of that toxic masculinity side, and it's not a clear addressing of feminism, whether it be because we haven't had enough of those conversations and that dialogue hasn't made it right to that, the kids who we are, right? Like I don't think I could go to a 15 or 16-year-old that I deal with and say, listen, you messing up with the feminism side, that it wouldn't translate, right? And I think that's why I see we address more. What tends to work more in our experiences is addressing the toxic masculinity, and so the deterrent benefits.
I'm not sure we know what it is.
Well, I was going to say, in that vein, where you kick this off, so with the jumping off point of like, how do you not weaponize that masculinity or weaponize like being that performer of feminism? And I think that's how you do the other side of it, is like, instead of trying to weaponize or perform feminism, you teach true masculinity, you teach healthy masculinity. And that can take many forms, like you said. That could be distance, that could be the man that you literally cry on my shoulder to, that could be the guy who helps you get girls, that could be the one gay friend who teaches you like what gay people are, right? Like that could be a whole bunch of different versions of what healthy masculinity is, but like that is necessary to even start the conversation about how to be a feminist. You won't be interested in becoming a feminist until you feel secure in who you are as a man, and no young man feels secure in that. That's why they're hunting out the toxicity. They need a healthier example. I think that's, I think the commonality we all share in the approach.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Can everyone please give a round of applause to our round table?
We done already?
You've been awesome. Yeah, great. We just getting started. Great. You guys come back next week, right?
Our time is up. I just wanted to say thank you for filling up my cup and being able just to pull threads and start conversations and really highlighting all the pieces of the things that we need to continue thinking about and doing better for everyone in our society. So please, thank you so much. We have flowers for all of you.
Because men only get flowers 2 times.
You know that all the work you're doing, I see it, and a whole bunch of other people see it, and you should get your flowers. Wow, you're
Thank you, Dream. I never got flowers before.
Me neither.
I don't even know how to grab them. I'm like, I put them down. How you do that?
Hold them like a newborn. Hey. It's the only one.
Don't drop him on the head, all right? Don't drop him on the head. Make sure you get plenty of water.
Before you close out, I just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Because, I learned a lot. Woo! Through this period of time. Because,
How to clap with flowers.
we're all from different generations, from different perspectives, looking at life in many different ways. But I think you challenged all of us to learn, right, and to see sort of where we're at and do some reflective practices. Because listening to this brother, I love everything he had to say. Maybe one thing I didn't love. but he brought something to me that, on my ride home, I'll be thinking about each person, right? And this gave me a perspective as, because I got a grandson that's 8. You know what I mean? And that's why I was asking about age, right? We were starting to have some of those conversations, right? And so how does that look? But what does it look like? How much time do I have him spend with my sisters, his aunties, right? Because I think he needs to have some of that, because I don't have the skill to give it. And I know we got to close, but I think when we start to talk about what that is and what all of those, I'm not sure I know, right? We talked about that earlier. I understand toxic masculinity. I'm not sure I understand what it really means and what it means from their perspective, because I never really had that deep of a conversation.
Well, I think there's a power in your level of awareness. You know what I mean? Like to say, like, I don't know this, so I need that person. Like that already makes strides.
Right.
Like it's just it's so much more powerful.
That's why I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, so please remember, buy books, all the books.
Facts.
Yes.
Man, this is the hit.
I do gotta say, this is the first bookstore I've been in that got so many black faces on the cover.
The blackest bookstore I've been in.
This one is. I'm bringing my grandson here to pull out a whole bunch.
Be no more Brookline Brooksmith in my life.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dream always has a story.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I'm going to share with you a dream of mine. I would love to be on Sesame Street. Sesame Street held my hand through childhood. In my dream, I would be in my big afro or rainbow braids sitting on the stoop sharing hair stories. I would like your help, please, by doing all the things. Like, leave a review, share it with someone who would benefit from hearing this episode. And if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone at Sesame Street, share your favorite episode with them, and I'll make you some of my famous chocolatey hot chocolate. I hope you have a beautiful day, or if you are like me, still up in the middle of the night, I hope you take a deep breath and rest. Love you. Talk to you later.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Dream, hello. I just wanted to tell you you're wonderful. I just got through going through your podcast. Love you, love you, love you, love you. Keep it up. Maybe I need to send it to Oprah and Tyler Perry. Love you, baby. You are great.
Where we share